The US President Joe Biden is so haunted by the two wars that he seems to have forgotten the bigger issue at hand, and that is to save his presidency. Does he really think his foreign policies will help him do that? Let me give you some context here. 2 years ago, right after the Ukraine war broke out, President Biden opened his State of the Union address by vowing to stop Vladimir Putin. At that time, the House chamber lapped it up, even gave a series of standing ovations. So Biden sought to use the same technique again. In today's address, his opening remarks again narrated Ukraine's plight and how Putin's territorial ambitions need to be contained. But this time around, it wasn't met with the same fervor. What has changed? Apart from war fatigue, it's the political environment of the US. But somebody forgot to send Mr. President the memo that his techniques have become outdated, just like him. Democrats are frustrated by Biden's handling of the war in Gaza. They have been divided over the president's vocal support of Israel. To reset the conversation, Biden tried to shift the focus to Gaza this time. He promised dramatic new actions to help the Palestinian civilians. This included setting up a temporary port on Gaza coast for swift aid delivery. He even used his toughest language yet against Israel's handling of the conflict, all to appease the Democrats. But it doesn't seem to be working, not at all, because it is still all about the war. He started his speech by talking about foreign policy, and he ended it with the same. It seems Biden is so consumed with what's happening outside that he's losing grip over what is really going on in America. That is, he's failing to woo Americans at this point. Consider what happened on the Super Tuesday. Traditionally, it is one of the most important dates on the US political calendar. That's because Americans from 15 states and 1 territory vote to choose their candidates. And as it turns out, hundreds and thousands of them cast their ballots for no candidate in Democratic primaries. This came after Michigan presidential primary, where the uncommitted choice garnered over 100,000 votes. Reports say this uncommitted movement is in response to Biden's poor handling of the war. Democratic supporters want Biden to call for an immediate ceasefire, also to halt US aid to Israel, and to do it before the elections. But in his address, Biden only spoke of more support to both the wars, and he was roasted for it by his rival, Donald Trump.
On the run from his record and lying like crazy to try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party have created. All the while, they continue the very policies that are causing this horror show to go. We cannot take it any longer as a country.
The dispute over the future of US foreign policy is growing. Nearly half of the Republicans now believe that the US is giving too much support to Ukraine. 41% of US adults disapprove of Biden's handling of the war in Gaza. Hundreds of protesters blocked Biden's motorcade route to the Capitol before his address. They held banners saying, "Biden's legacy is genocide." And as Biden endures all this, Ukraine's First Lady Olena Zelenska and Putin critic Navalny's wife, Yulia Navalnaya, didn't even take the pain to attend his state address. To me, it looks like Biden needs a new campaign strategy, because the one focused on the wars doesn't seem to be working, not at all. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.